Rasha'nan is the fourth boss of Nerub'Ar Palace in World of Warcraft, The War Within. This is a single-stage boss fight that really allows players with execute abilities to shine. The boss starts at 50% health, so most of the fight is going to be in that sub 35% HP range for lots of executes. There's a lot of coordinated abilities throughout this fight that you're going to have to pay attention to, and some movement-based effects, as well as you're going to have to follow the boss around the stadium as she moves about, slowly using up the entire platform. The tank ability is Savage Assault, which is going to do a massive amount of both physical and nature damage. All unmitigated damage then becomes a dot on the target that stacks. It is recommended to swap every time this ability is cast to make sure your tanks don't get too many stacks of this massive dot. The main and unique effect of this boss is Rolling Acid. Two players are going to get marked by green acid. One side of them is going to be highlighted. They need to get that side out of the group to make sure that the acid that lands then pours out in that direction and doesn't go over the party. Every player the acid wave hits gets stunned and takes a corrosive dot. You need to pay attention to when this effect goes out and make sure you understand which way you need to run out of the group. On Mythic difficulty, this affects 3 players, and you need to create a little Bermuda Triangle of safety. Otherwise, your team is going to get wrecked. All players need to be responsible here on Mythic difficulty to get into the Triangle of Safety, and all players need to go out to the appropriate area. Spinneret Strands ramps up its effect depending on the version of the boss that you're fighting. It marks several players with white circles and then blasts them with webs. The player targeted gets tethered to the center of this circle and needs to run out of the tether until it is broken. This will do raid-wide damage when it snaps. This will also leave sticky webs on the ground that slow movement speed and deal damage to you while you're in it. On Heroic difficulty, every player hit by the circle gets tethered to that circle and then will have a thread that they'll need to snap, massively increasing the damage the raid's going to take. Finally, on Mythic difficulty, every player hit by any of the circles get tethered together. This is going to create a massive amount of tethers and a huge amount of group damage that needs to be broken. In addition, each tether strand that gets broken is going to drop additional webs on the ground at the tether breakpoint. This is the #1 mechanic players need to avoid getting hit by, quickly spreading out and reacting to those circles. Erosive Spray is the main healer mechanic. The boss will pulse multiple times, putting a stacking debuff on all players. Make sure you have a lined up healer cooldown available for each time this effect is cast. The amount of damage on the raid is massive. Make sure not to be too grouped up during this, because some players that get hit by it are going to drop an acid pool on the ground. Also throughout the fight, several players are going to get hit by acid that's going to spawn small adds that bite them and then jump around biting new targets. Pick these up and AoE them down. Healers are going to have to focus on those that get attacked by these that get a stacking debuff that hurts quite a bit. After a rotation through her abilities, Rasha'nan will fly up in the air and then fly over to a new location on the platform. Your team needs to follow her to this new location, and once you're set up, you need to interrupt her acidic eruption cast. Every time she gets this cast off, it gives a stacking debuff that increases the damage this ability deals for the rest of the fight. So you want to make sure she gets as few of these off as possible. However, you don't want to interrupt her too early, especially on Heroic or Mythic difficulties, due to the next effect. Webree gets added in Heroic and Mythic difficulties. It gives a soak location onto one target, and multiple players need to stand in this. At the end of a short cast, she will pull everyone in the soak mechanic towards her, and the distance people get pulled is reduced by how many people are in the reeve. If less than 4 targets are hit by this effect, everybody in the raid gets affected by it at full effect rather than reduced. You can't cheese this with characters that cannot be pulled. On Mythic difficulty, pretty much the entire raid needs to get pulled by this, or else you will get launched off of the platform. She always casts this ability immediately after landing when doing the acidic eruption, so you need to make sure enough players are nearby to soak the Webree before interrupting acidic eruption. Finally, on Mythical difficulty only, she'll create lines of swirls out from her, and after a short delay, will stun anybody that is in these lines. You need to quickly sidestep out of these, avoiding all the other mechanics that are happening all over the place, or have a stun resistant ability to be able to quickly break that stun. The stun lasts 120 seconds, but you can be broken out of the cocoon webbing if you do get hit by this. Any players that get hit need to be broken out quickly so they can avoid other mechanics. Really, strategy-wise, this is just to utilize as much space as you possibly can, getting the web effects way out away from everyone so that you're safe and able to move effectively, and avoiding as many of the swirl-based mechanics as possible. I hope this guide helped you figure out how to take down Rasha'nan, the 4th boss of Nerub'Ar Palace in War Within. I'm Zesty Fresh with Salsa Games, and we'll catch you guys next time.